discuss very simple concepts. The first one is language. In this course, you will study language acquisition and you will study language development. This second term, language development, production, and with language disorders. But I call it neurodivergence or neurodiversity, not disorders, because these people are different here. Then psycholinguistics and AI, and here there are two concepts: natural language processing and neuro-linguistics program. Both are called NLP, but these both are different. They are not the same. So language acquisition is one of the defining features of human cognition. And from the first babbles and coos when babies they start speaking, and then they move towards one word stage, second word stage, and then they start speaking fluently like machines, kind of burst. So all this is language acquisition and production. They go together. And first, this concept was imitation or copying or behaviorism. Noam Chomsky, he said that there is language acquisition device, and children, why? Because if you look at children, they're not taught grammar, they're not given lectures, but the way they speak, they make infinite grammatical structures. So it means that this ability is innate. Children are biologically wired. That is why they are able to speak. And then Noam Chomsky's LAD, language acquisition device, that was never discovered. But his concept, then it became universal grammar. And then he modified it, universal grammar, then principles and parameters. Why? Because some languages were different. For example, Piraha language. Piraha language does not have recursion. It does not have counting system. And so when new languages were studied, it was found that there are certain principles which are similar, but there are certain things which are dissimilar or they are different. And then Eric Langenberg, he also established that there is neurological or there is biological basis of language. And then Jean Berko Gleason, she's alive and she's also my friend on Facebook, by the way. She also, she's old, yes, she's retired. Morphology and language acquisition in children. She studied that. And so there were some scientists who were working like Elizabeth Bates. She died unfortunately at a young age. But Chomsky stayed in the field for over 60 years and he kept on writing. So that is why he remained dominant. But Chomsky did one thing very intelligently and smartly. Whenever he got new findings, what he did, he modified his theory. He modified his theory. So his language acquisition became universal grammar. Then he gave a new version of principle and parameters. Then he gave a new version of minimalism, merge, and now it's called minimalism. So these versions, and still there is an opportunity to do research. Why? Because there are 7,000 languages, according to Edward Gibson, who is an MIT professor, whose main research is syntax in the brain. His wife is also a professor, Ev Fedorenko, and he says that there are 7,000 languages, but out of those 7,000 languages, only 1,000, less than 1,000, fewer than 1,000 languages, they have been studied. So imagine the data we have is only from fewer than 1,000. 6,000 languages are still waiting. Why? Because most of those languages don't have written script. One more thing. Right now, all these theories, they're coming from weird countries. They are coming from Western, educated, rich, industrialized, democratic societies, which is a limited spectrum of population. It is not like all the research is done there, all this, and there are only 4 countries: USA, UK, Germany, Netherlands. Now China has started. So there are 200 countries, there are 7,000 languages, out of which only 4 countries are producing this research, and only less than 1,000 languages they have been studied. So whatever we are telling you, that may not be definitive. They may not be definitive, because there is here one point I want to add. Let us suppose the criteria we have is science, technology, cell phone, cars, electric cars, home, modern homes. Like these things are the criteria for development. Let us suppose that these criteria don't exist, and we remove these criteria and we replace them with one criterion only, because we are studying language. So if you move it one criterion and you take this one criterion as who speaks more languages, you will see Russia. Russia is so big, but linguistic diversity is very low. You look at America, it's only one language. Canada, French and English, only 2 languages. We look at other countries, they have 1 or hardly 2. But go to Papua New Guinea. Over there, one person speaks on average 5 to 6 languages. But there are certain pockets where one person can speak 15 languages. Now tell me, who is more intelligent? The person who can speak only one language, or the person who can speak 15 languages? Now here the problem is, the person who can speak one language is imposing his perspective, his worldview on the person who can speak 15 languages. Why? Because those who can speak 15 languages, their languages have not been studied. That is the dilemma in which we are. So that is, and political power is also under their control, and academia is under their control. So that is why things are. Right now, things will change. Why? Because people from, look, these countries, Pakistan, Namal has almost 800 to 1,000 BS students, MPhil students. Similarly, Qadir University, Karachi University. You are studying linguistics. Now, 2 students in your class, they're asking questions. These questions tomorrow may become critical inquiries, critical research. They can, if they are encouraged and they keep on asking questions, these can become ground. Because when Daniel Everett went to Amazon to study Piraha language, nobody thought that it would discover that there is no recursion, one of the basic criterion of universal grammar, and it'll be like, it will be like a bombshell on universal grammar, in Steven Pinker's words. Nobody had any idea. So 6,000 languages, we don't know like what is hidden, waiting for us to be explored. So whatever we are studying, it is a great research that first language was considered outside the body, society. Then there was a person, he was working on railway at Phineas Gage, he had an accident, and then a person who was treated by Paul Broca, and then there was Carl Wernicke, and then Carl Lashley. These people, then Ginny's case, Challis's case, they were discovered, and we located the brain areas that it exists inside the brain. Then it was further modified, and new discoveries made it possible that it is, yes, it is located in the brain. Area 44, Brodmann area 44 is for syntax. Area 45 is for syntax and semantics. Area 22 is for language comprehension. But there are other things as well. Why? Because when a young boy has a stroke, he can quickly recover speech. But if an old man, he cannot. Similarly, when a young child learns language, he can learn it quickly. While an old man, when he learns another language, he cannot speak like native speakers. Zohran Mamdani, he can speak like native speakers because the New York mayor, because he went to America at an early age. While Henry Kissinger, he could not speak like him. Why? Because he went to America, he was older. So these things, they show that, they hint that language is biologically wired and there is some strong connection with it. But localization of language to just particular areas of Broca and Wernicke, that is not the definitive point. It is connectionist model or usage-based model that we need biology and climate and environment, it's intersection of that. And here comes critical period hypothesis, where we say that if you're at a certain age, younger age, puberty, before that time you can learn language quickly, but after that you will not be able to. And Ginny's case proves that. There was a girl, Ginny, she was kept in isolated place for 12 years by her own father. And when it was discovered what he did, his father committed suicide, he didn't go to the court, and his mother started weeping, and she was given to the linguist or psychologist. Of course, psychology basically. Linguistics is a subdomain of psychology. So they treated, and initially they were very happy. 2 videos are available on YouTube. You can watch them. They were very happy. And then when she was learning words very quickly, but then when they moved towards grammar, towards syntax, she could not show progress. Why? Because she had passed that. Another case was Challisy, and then feral children, other cases were discovered, and we came to know that, yes. So what happens basically at a young age, when a child is born, that child has 100 billion neurons, and initially those neurons have little connectivity, almost no connectivity, and then with the passage on, they make connections, they make synapses, and in this way, child starts looking at you, then joint attention starts, gripping your hand, that starts, and touching the body, that, and then the baby starts trying to utter sounds. And these stages are like first 0 to 12 months, that is cooing or babbling, that is just limited sound. Then from 12 to 18 months, that is where the child starts, it's called holophrastic stage, where the child starts milk, or he says one word. And from 18 to 12 months, that is telegraphic speech, where 2-word stage, it is called 2-word stage. And from 24 to 36 months, that is called multi-word stage. And complex sentences start at 3 to 5 years, and later on children, they start writing poetry or creative writing or these sort of things. And then phonological development, usually it is early phonological, early consonant development, that is from 6 to 12 months, and later consonant, that is from 3 to 4 months. So similarly, lexical and morphological development, that usually happens around 18 to 24 months. Roger Brown, he talked about S form or plural. And then we go to semantic development and syntactic development. In syntactic development, children, they learn word orders. Like if they are in England, they will learn English. If they're in Pakistan, they will learn. And Roger Brown, he talked about morpheme order studies, and like how children, they make S or D or ED. Another hint is when children, they are learning these languages, they make second form of the verb or these. So basically, in this beginning, the whole term, second term, you will study language acquisition, language development, language production, language disorders, and there is, you will also additional topic. It's not part of your syllabus. This one is bracket. This is not part of your course outline, but I have added this. Why? Because you should know that those people are not disabled, they are neurodivergent. They are that's neurodiversity. It's not disability. Don't treat them because they are different, their brains work different. Don't treat them. And I'll also share one article with you to show that if somebody is handicapped, still that person can, that person is useful. And I have written one article to read that. So then language comprehension. Along with it, there are some like AI is there and neuro-linguistic programming, that is there. So this is your first day's lecture in which you will be prepared to prepare about language acquisition development. Some of the ideas will be repeated, but not all of them will be repeated. So you should be ready and try to make sure that. Now, second part that I want to tell you, it is, yes, sir. Yeah, these stages are for everyone, but there are some variations because this study has been conducted in English children in Western countries, not in Pakistan. Second thing is you can see variations on the basis of girls and boys. There's a little bit difference. Like there is a gene that's called FOXP2 gene. In that gene, girls, they have like protein, that quantity is a bit higher in girls, that is 35% more. So they learn language a bit early and they learn more words as compared to boys. So there are some variations, but almost it is similar. And if you want to study more about it, you can conduct a study. There is a journal. That journal is Second Language Acquisition, Cambridge University journal. So you can conduct this study, this research, and like the studies that were conducted in the past, you can replicate them, and those will be published. Why? Because you will change the population. Those studies were conducted, let's suppose, in France or in England, and that journal is Cambridge University. It's one of the best journals, second language acquisition. It's related to psycholinguistics as well. And so you can try those studies in Pakistan here with Urdu speakers, with Pashto speakers, or you can try it multilingual speakers. Look at children here. In Pakistan, on average, everybody speaks 3 languages. I can speak English, I can speak Urdu, I can speak Saraiki, Punjabi, I can speak Hindko, Potwari. So you can speak a lot of languages. I know my father, and like I've met so many other people who could speak 6 to 7 languages. So it is.
Secondly, morpheme order splitting by Roger Brown, universal grammar,
No, that was initial concept. The new concept we're talking about language and universal grammar framework. That is the framework. The whole lecture is not about universal grammar. Universal grammar is the starting point that how it is related. How it is related. So these are different. Point number 1, I said during this semester and term you will study language acquisition, language development, language comprehension, production. With it, you will study language disorders and NLP and neuro-linguistic programming, not natural language processing. Second point is, these are in sequence. These are in sequence. And first point was language was outside. Language was outside human body. We thought that children were copying the society, imitation, through imitation. And although Plato, he raised this question that how come we human beings have so little exposure, but we know so much about the world? Idea was Descartes also expressed it, and then Noam Chomsky said that it is impossible that we have nothing in the brain, so language is connected with the brain. Now, the next steps that I've shared, these are language development stages which show one thing, and that is that language is grounded in human brain. Human sounds, words, morphemes, all these things are developing inside the brain, and the brain mechanism or innate ability enabling the child in. So that's called universal grammar. But I also said that this is proven. Why? Because right now, F. Fedorenko, she is doing this research, and in Western universities, they have labs. In those labs, they have seen how children, when they speak, when they think of. I also shared one lecture with you, and that lecture was on language by Nancy Canvisher. Nancy, that was F. Fedorenko. That was F. Fedorenko because she studied language and thought. Nancy Canvisher's language about language. There's a YouTube video lecture, first day, first or second day. So universal grammar is one of the ideas. It is not perfect because right now, if you look at one of the most famous professors, he is Thomas Salleh. His book was published by Harvard University Press, and that was Constructing Grammar. In that book, he challenges this notion. Similarly, I also mentioned Elizabeth Bates, she died earlier. She also challenged this notion of universal grammar. What Thomas Salleh is saying that, yes, we have biological capacity to learn language, but we cannot learn it unless we have exposure or we have the right kind of environment. Only then we will learn. Let's suppose if a child is learning in Pakistan, will study Urdu or Punjabi. If a child is learning there, they will learn different language. So that's why the universal grammar theory, yes, it is connected. Why? Because it grants language in seven brains. But is it perfect? No. You should do more research. Pakistan has laboratory of languages. We have 68 languages in this country. Why don't you start practice? Why don't you start? If you cannot conduct original research, it's okay. Take Cambridge University's SLA journal and take old studies and conduct them again with new sample, with new people, with new population. And this is like. So today, just to capture this moment and make it immortal, I was also live on YouTube with you. So boys can come and say hi so that it is captured in this screen forever. And then the class will be over. Yes, everybody. So I was taking class with my students. So girls, you can stay, that's okay. Boys can come. Yeah, here. These are my students. Okay, that's great. Yes. Here we have Qaid Azam to ask questions. Jinnah Sahab, please come here. Yeah. Sir?
Please share, like, subscribe.
That's okay.
Guys, please share and like the sir ki channel ko karen, please.
Thank you.
Also press the bell icon to get notification when we come on live. Okay.
Okay, we'll start lectures. Thank you very much. Everybody has, yeah,
Thank you.
that's nice. Now, sir, there is last advice to you. We have some